Well, good afternoon, hessamd.vali. It's such an honor to have you here on the Business Spotlight.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm
Appreciate it.
excited to ask you these questions so that people can learn a little bit about you and about the business and the amazing journey that you've been on. So your company is Techam Solutions, and that's spelled Techam Solutions. And
Right.
then you also have Optegrity, which is also part of that company, a software company, and you're going to talk about that a little bit too.
Sure.
So I
Yep.
think that's
Definitely.
fascinating because you're a Kansas company. Yay, woohoo.
Yep.
And you'll talk to us about that, and we'll be learning some more. So let me just get right to it and tell us, Hessam. So what do you do with your organization, and for how long?
Okay. Sounds good. Um, yeah, it's awesome to be here and talking to you, Lee. So I appreciate the opportunity. As far as the company and our organization, just a little bit of background about myself. I've been in Wichita in the last 12 years, and I'm an industrial engineer. So
Okay.
my whole life has been in the manufacturing world. I've been working in the shop floor as a quality engineer, fixing problems. Then I was working for bigger corporates as the director and helping multiple business units. But my main passion have been always fixing problems and making things better, right? Especially manufacturing environments. You always want to see that you're improving, continuous improvement. So that's been my passion. And in 2014, I got to the point that said, hey, you know what? I really enjoy doing it. So why I'm doing it for specific companies, but I want to be open to just work with as many as possible companies as possible. So that's when I met my business partner, Maddie Koshani, um, and we both together. He got his PhD in industrial mechanical engineering, and we basically formed Techam Solutions. And our main vision was to help and work with the small medium manufacturers to help them to make their numbers. So plain and simple, right? But as we are doing it through everything operations. What's happening at the shop floor? What's happening at the supply chain level that does not let them to meet those numbers? What kind of constraint they have? And we try to use the technology, we try to use our knowledge in industrial manufacturing engineering to overcome those constraints. So that was the inception of Techcom Solutions back in 2014. And as we are doing that work and helping with the companies and putting a lot of processes in place, we realize that a lot of these processes that we're putting in place are manual processes, and people gotta, sometimes not really easy to scale up those processes. Let's say that, hey, I'm doing, I'm catching these defects on a regular basis. I gotta put it on a piece of paper or an Excel file. So we said that that's not really efficient a way of doing a lot of these things out there in the shop floor. So that was the idea behind Optegrity Solutions, and we developed the software that is supporting manufacturing processes. And we did that in 2019.
Okay, so can you describe what the software does?
Sure. We have 5 applications under our software. So we have a cloud-based application, suite of application, and probably the biggest, the most famous application we have is used by manufacturing to document the standard works and manage the standard works.
Okay.
Even if you think about it today with all the labor problems, labor issues, I mean, one of the reasons why a lot of times people do not stay within companies is I'm not properly trained to what I'm doing. So I'm failing every day. I don't feel that I'm adding to the company, contributing to the success of the company. So I'll try to find another job. Or you train me as my supervisor, you come and show me what to do, and then 2 days later you get busy with something else, and I'm not sure really if I understood the work the way that it should be done. If I'm building a widget, if I'm welding something, whatever it is. So one of our applications is documenting the work instructions, however, how the job needs to be done on a step-by-step basis. So we use that one for training purposes. We use that one for auditing purposes, making sure that the job is done correctly every time. And that's one of the bases also in lean manufacturing, which is what we are really, excited and passionate about. So that's one of the applications. We have another application, which is for defect tracking and defect management.
Okay.
Again, in the production, defects are happening all the time. Many companies are not really efficient in catching those and making sure those defects are fixed before they send the product to the customer. So our application helps to document, analyze. We have a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, prediction and stuff like that to identify these are the risk areas when it comes to quality. That's another one. We have a calibration and maintenance application. And again, a lot of analytics behind it to show where the maintenance risks are, to keep the equipment always up and available. We have something that we call an issue management system, which is a systematic, again, using the quality assurance and industrial engineering mindset for problem solving, very systematic approach for problem solving. Techam, again, a lot of AI and analysis to identify the trends when it comes to problems. So this is kind of a suite of applications that we build to help our consulting services.
And I can think about even just like the document resource that you have, if you don't have to duplicate something and make a mistake duplicating it or having to train somebody a second time, long term, or that is so valuable. It's, and you get to count those savings for a long time. It isn't just a one saving and done. You hire less people, that is adding to the bottom line. You're hiring better, that adds to the bottom line. Retention adds to the bottom line. So all of those things are, and I also love what you said about you work with the smaller companies, because let's face it, more manufacturing is done in these smaller shops than collectively than all the big manufacturers combined. So if we're not working with the smaller ones, helping them, get the product out the door efficiently and effectively, then we're not doing what we should be doing, I think.
Yeah, no, we are a very value driven, right? I believe that the company needs to be healthy from a financial perspective, but I believe that if you deliver the right value to the clients, financial is not going to be a problem. The bottom line is the other side of the table, they got to understand that you're helping, you're on their end, you're on their side, and you're helping them to fix their problem. So that's really our vision. We are very value driven and process oriented company. And again, everything that we're doing, because I've lived those things on a day-to-day basis when I was working in manufacturing out there in the shop floor. So I felt all those pain myself, the days that I had to stay at the shop for till 7, 8 p.m. because we have that problem, right? Or really, really long days towards the end of the month because we had to make our numbers by producing the products. And at the same time, I see that, hey, we have 5 people not showing up to the work. Or right all the way at the last minute of the work, I see that we have all these quality problems that we have to stay and fix them. So I felt all that pain myself. And I said, you know what? I learned a little bit in everything that I've done. And I would like to just share that with the other small medium manufacturers. So that's really our passion and our value proposition.
I like that. So the next question I have is, who's your best customer? So what if somebody called you up and you said, team, we've got a great opportunity to really, really help somebody. Who would that be? And what would they be doing? Kind of describe that.
Sure. So, we have, at the very grand scheme of things, we have 2 types of services that we provide. Sometimes our clients, they do not know the problem. They know that they have pain. They know that they cannot, it doesn't happen. So we go there to help them to identify the problem. We do a lot of assessments, a lot of analysis, a lot of observations to identify the constraints. And sometimes we have customers that they know exactly what the problem they have. They come to us to help with that particular problem. So number one, we enjoy both type of business, right? We enjoy both type of engagement. From the customer perspective, if I want to tell you one thing that I really like with the clients that we're working, is they're open.
Okay.
Right.
Like
they
that.
hire somebody to come in and look at it, because if you work with a company that they think that they know everything, right? They're not open to a different way of looking at things. Usually you spend a lot of time to convince them, or not convince them, but get them to agree to look at things differently, other than really working on great stuff and fix and move the needles. So number one, small to medium manufacturers, we have our sweet spot is companies between 50 to 500 employees.
Okay.
Probably in the range of $100 million revenue. Those are the companies
Okay.
who understands a lot of things that we're talking about, at the same time. They are not big enough to hire everybody for every single type projects. So we can get engaged, work on the project, whatever the project is. And by the time that we're done, we just deliver, hand off, train, and we basically move on to the next opportunity. So these are in manufacturing, these type project customers, we really enjoy working with them.
Good. I think that's a great description of them too. And like you said, having somebody that's open-minded. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. So,
right.
Those are the kind of clients that we like to work with too, the ones that are willing to look at things. And obviously what got you here is something different is going to have to get you to the next level. It's not the same thing. So you've got to make that tough decision to be open-minded and make change. So
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Without that, is basically whatever, this is the and it happens to us as well, right? One value that we add to our clients is, we are working with multiple companies. We see a lot of best practices and not such best practices. So we see a lot of things that if you try, you're gonna fail. We see a lot of things that if you try, it's going to have a good result. Because when you're involved in one business for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, after some time, you get just to see everything from that particular lenses, right? As opposed to working with different industries, sometimes I see something in ag industry that can be really adopted in another sector, right? Or another industry. So those are other values in addition to the so I want to say that this is icing on a cake, because we see a lot of things that happens differently.
Yeah. And we're just creatures of habit, and we don't know, like when the 4-minute mile record was broken, no one thought that it could be broken. And then after less than a week, after that 4-minute mile record was broken, multiple people did it. So the thing is, if we don't even know about it, how can we can't achieve it? So I always think about that story in business, because just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done.
Right.
Love that.
Exactly. Open-minded, thinking out of the box and being creative. That's the name of the game.
And like you said, the ag industry best practice may work in manufacturing and vice versa. It doesn't have to be industry.
100%.
Yeah. I don't think any industry is unique. We can all benefit from other industries. Yeah, I think so too.
And especially when you think about the manufacturing, there are some very basic principles in manufacturing, regardless of what sector or what industry you are in. Those principles stay the same, right? You can adopt or hire a lot of technologies to do the job differently. But when it comes to the hardcore of manufacturing, there are a lot of basic principles that stay true over the course of time across different industries. So that's why you see that, hey, this practice is great in this industry. You might be able to just adopt that practice in another industry and see all the benefits still.
For sure. I love that. Speaking my language, I just think it's good stuff to hear. So one of the other questions, I'm just curious, did COVID impact you and your industry? And if so, do you have anything that you have maintained because of it? And maybe you could even speak to some of the manufacturing firms that you work with. What kind of adjustments did they have to make because of COVID?
Yeah, I mean, this is the question that we talk about it over and over, right? COVID impacted us, absolutely. It did, right? To some extent. Some of them was good, some of them was not good.
Yeah.
From the business perspective, when COVID happened, we had a really good contract that probably 2 weeks after the outbreak, we got a call and said, hey, you know what? We are going to slow down. So can we put the project on hold?
Yeah.
So that was a big event for us. Let's put it this way. And so we've been thinking about it, or how we're going to manage through this time if we don't have this big project. And that was also at the same time we learned the value of diversity and do multiple, instead of having one giant client, how about having like multiple but medium-sized clients? That way you're managing the risk. So But at the same time, so it was not good, right? But at the same time, we had we received a couple phone calls from some people in our network that, uh, hey, we got this money. We are going to use this as slow time to fix some of the problems that we have that we know that is going to come back to us. And everything is slow. We want to use that and fix some of these major
Yeah.
problems. And we got involved in those projects. So really, if you think about it from the spots, we had some good news, bad news, good news, bad news.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think that we never hurt pretty, really bad. We were able to survive through that time,
Good.
also grow. I mean, 2022, we grew from 2020, 2019, 21 was bigger than 2020, and 2022 we are keeping that growth so far. So again, we had some shocking moments,
Mm-hmm.
but overall we were able to survive through that really difficult time.
Good. Well, congratulations on the success of your business. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the things, when all of us coaches were stuck at home wondering what we're going to do, just collectively as a group, we decided we're going to double down. We're going to work harder now than we ever have to help our clients. And whether they could afford it or not, we continued, and we made that initiative company organization wide. So it's a franchise, Action Coaches. And once we cleared the air and said we're moving forward, it was like no going back. And my business has gone up ever since. So I feel like, kind of like what you described, I hate to use the word pivot because it was so overused during COVID, but if you were able to, and then retool like the manufacturing firms did during the slow time, maybe some people took the opportunity to update some of their systems or review their policies or whatever kinds of things they never had time for before.
Well, one of the services that we offer is automation. So during the COVID, we start receiving some calls that, hey, we have problems with keeping people. How about we put this robot to do the job? So we did multiple projects during that time. That I mean, looks like it was a kind of risk mitigation plan for some of our clients to add more technology and automation. If anything similar to that happens, at least they can they can keep the manufacturing and the operations going.
Yeah, boy.
And we had to add to our automation team during that time, even though many companies have problems, but that was the point that we had to add more people with the automation knowledge and in order to support those particular clients.
Of course, then we also all learned how to use Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. And everything was.
I feel like that's one of the biggest benefits of what we had to do in COVID.
I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are having a Zoom conversation, and we can be anywhere doing it, and I just love that, because I don't know if we'd ever had time to meet otherwise. So this is perfect.
100%.
Yeah. Well, so you're a PhD and MBA. I can't wait to ask you, what's your biggest learning that you'd like to share with this audience since you've been a business owner?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm not a patient man at all. Okay. Or I have not been a patient person.
Okay.
And probably patience was what I learned the most during my tenure as a business owner. Because, again, when you're working in manufacturing and you do it at the shop floor and you grow within the organization, you happen to learn a lot of problems that manufacturing have. And the industry have been evolved, the technology have been evolved, but as I said, there are still many basic principles that you got to follow. So because I've seen those problems, when I talk with people, I know for a fact that they have many of those problems. I know it, but it's really difficult sometimes to make it clear. And there is a process. The awareness gotta be the first step. You make them aware of those problems, right? And then your potential clients start to seeing those problems, because now they know about it, and they look at their operations, they start seeing them, right? But it happens quite often that when you talk with people, and potential clients and potential prospects, there's a tendency that, no, we know about it, we know how to fix it, and they try, and then they fail, right? And then there is a time frame between you have the conversation, you try to educate until they see that, no, this needs to be done by someone professional. So that time frame could be really lengthy. And my
Tested your patience
early time,
many times. Yeah.
So when I was working for corporates, right, you make a decision depending on where in the organization you're at, you can move on and move forward and do it. But when you're working with somebody outside your reach, or somebody that you cannot really influence right off the bat, that time frame matters quite a bit. Sometimes you talk with somebody for about a year until you get engaged and until they see that, hey, there is some value in this. And early on, I was thinking, hey, you know what? It does not work. I mean, it's not happening fast enough. And I learned that, this is the nature of the beast. So that's one of the things. The other thing that I would say that I learned was diversity. I learned that you have to be diverse. I learned that you have to eat. We are in manufacturing, we are in operations, but even within operations in manufacturing, you can help the organization from different perspectives, from different angles. And before COVID, we probably were very much, niched out to one part of it. And then during time, we learned that, no, it cannot be just that. We need that software because that's something else. We need the automation because that's another spectrum of how we can help our clients. So diversity and being more broad when it comes to manufacturing and operations, that was another thing that we learned, and we acted on it for sure.
Interesting. Well, thank you for that. One of the things we're doing with this interview is letting people tell the story, that you have, which is, I love to hear the stories. We're including, it'll also be in print. So it'll be a video and also in print. Do you have anything you want to add to a newsletter that would be kind of an offer that you would like to have?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I would say is, because we've been in this field of manufacturing and consulting role, we got really good in doing a quick walkthrough, look at the operations and get a sense of what's going on. And when I put my MBA is in finance, so when I put that hat on and I do the look at the operations from both operations perspective and financial perspective, we can give a really good picture of what we see and what areas that we think that we need to focus on. I would say that this is, if we can help anybody with anything, that's the first step. So we would love if there is anybody, any operations that they just want to get some ideas about how we think about it, right?
Okay.
That would be great. So we call it rapid plant assessments. That program that we have is a really small program, but helps our potential clients, or even if it's not clients, our friends, in manufacturing environment, to just give them another way of looking at the operations from a different, fresh eyes, right? From a different perspective, from a financial and operations together perspective. So we really, I mean, that's the, if I tell you that how many times we had really hard time to just get to the point that we can do a rapid plant assessment. And then when we are done and we present our report,
Bingo.
How much, eyeball rolling we saw.
Yes.
I'm not exaggerating. It's a great offering that we do. Again, it doesn't mean that we need to go ahead and do any projects. We just give an overview from our perspective, what opportunities for improvement, some of those folks.
So you're basically doing a walkthrough and having a conversation.
Exactly. But it's a very systematic approach.
Yeah. Okay.
So we do it and
Okay. Well, I think that's a great offer, rapid plant assessments. And it sounds like you know how to do it pretty quickly. And I would think people would be very excited to have that. Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you find most inspiring about your industry? I'd say the manufacturing industry.
Well, building things.
Yeah.
right? That's the most amazing. And this is what I say. I mean, building things is really good. It's really aspirational. And when you build it right and smoothly and efficiently, that's a different level, right? When you see the orchestra in the shop floor and everything is working together, people, properties, machine, processes all working together. That's really what we enjoy watching. And this is what we really do. I mean, we look at that orchestra before and we try to move things around a little bit. So at the end of the day, it's a super smooth operations that everybody feels happy to be part of the operations. This is really what we enjoy doing. And we'll take whatever technology needed to be included in that, whatever processes needed to be included in that, to build our orchestra. So
what you do in manufacturing is your masterpiece, really. Like, an artist, their output product is the design or the painting or whatever. Your masterpiece is whatever you build.
Yeah, that's it. So again, that's what I said. We are very process oriented and value based company. So we build the processes together to see that everything is just flowing.
I love it. That's great. Well, I bet you've read a few books in your time, of course, through all the education that you have, PhD and MBA. But what's a book you'd like to recommend that other maybe manufacturers read or even business owners read?
Yeah. I can tell you a couple different books, because some of them are really great from the leadership development perspective, that type of skill set. And some books are more technical and day-to-day what's happening out there in the shop floor. So if I want to tell you one book that I really, really enjoyed, I probably read it a couple times, is Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's a great leadership book that helps to just look at things differently, right? Just unlearn what you have learned so far and look at it from a different perspective. So that's really what I enjoy reading it. And when it comes to my world of lean manufacturing, all those things, there's a really good, nice book, which is called The Goal.
I knew you were going to say The Goal. I love that book. I have a client reading it right now. That is such a great, simple book.
Absolutely. And then that's, when I started this conversation, I said that we'll look at the constraints. I would try to remove the constraint. That's all about the theory of constraints, right? So, and it's, even though it's like a story, it's like a novel, but it presents the idea behind constraint and constraint removal very strongly. So definitely from anybody in manufacturing operations, highly suggested, recommended to read that book.
And constraints in any business, there's a constraint. If you're not getting your product, whatever it is, out the door, there's a constraint if it can be identified. And where's the guy not climbing up the hill? Where these lagging, and I just love that.
Yeah.
It's great. I love that you have, and it's an old book. It doesn't have, it's the answers in that book and the solutions are the same today.
So that's what I said, that there are principles that they're not changing. That's exactly what I mean. The theory of constraint is a principle that never changes. No matter what operations you have, there is always one or two or multiple part of that operations are defining your speed, are defining your throughput, are defining the overall performance of your process and operations. So that's the basic principle that stays true for all time.
Okay, well, and I know you can get that Goal and Good to Great on a used book list for $6 or $7, and of course they're available on Audible, so you can listen to them.
Right.
They're good reads. Both of them are, like you said, multiple reads probably.
Yeah. I have a very strict daily routine. Every morning I wake up probably around 6, and then I go for 30 minutes walk. And that's the time that I just put the Audible on and just basically enjoy those books. So
consume that information. And that's awesome. Nice. Well, that's great. I love that you shared that. Well, the last question I have for you is what, if somebody's listening and they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we have all the contact information on our website, obviously www.techamsolutions.com, TECHAM solutions.com. And also if they go to optegritysolutions.com, Also, we have all the contact information. Under the team portion, I have my phone number, I have my email address. I'm fairly active on LinkedIn,
Yep.
so I try to be there for just to share and learn. So these are the best way to
Good.
get hold of me.
I appreciate that. I felt like I had another question I was going to ask you, but I lost it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I love the name of your company names, Techam and Optegrity. Those are good names. I feel like they kind of self-describe what you do, you know, and I knew that Techam was technology and manufacturing somehow together, and Optegrity, I knew it was optimizing something with integrity. It felt like that's what it.
That's
I love that.
Integrity.
Love
that's
it.
Optimal integrity. Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
Oh, that's great. Well, Dr. hessamd.vali, which you said I didn't have to call you that. I feel like you deserve that title because you earned it. But thank you very much for the interview time today. I learned a lot. I know the people that watch the video will, and this will also be in print too. So I'm excited to run into you sometime at the coffee shop or whenever our paths cross.
Absolutely, I'm in.
Or at the airport or wherever it is.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Thank you again for your time, and I will be in touch with you soon.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.